All right, so here's a quick update on the fig cuttings. I do think, I wish a lot of more people would do this. If you've started something and you've shown a way to do it, show what your results are. Last year I had about 100%, and this year I had 5 out of 22 that I can't claim victory on yet. But still, quite a good number. I've already given away a half dozen of these to friends. It's their second day getting a little sun, so I have to take these back in soon. I want to be cautious with them. They've been in pretty low light area, really. So the first thing I wanted to show you was these two right here. Now, you can see here there's still some green. I scratched it just to see. So they may come, but the biggest thing here is I learned, and we do learn every time we do this, these pots are not waxed like some of these other pots. And with this open top, they wicked up water and they dried out much faster. So I think this is pretty much just me not getting them enough water when they dried out. So again, they may still come, there's still hope. And they do come at different times. So this one is one here that I would say I can't say for sure is gonna make it, but I actually do think when I've seen them bud this late, usually that they've got roots and they're going to be fine. So this one probably is fine. Another one that didn't make it was the very first cutting I showed in the other video, and that was pretty much dead on arrival. It's a real trial by fire for these guys today. And that was a winter kill. It was from the very top of the cutting, and I thought it wasn't viable, and then I looked at it a day later and it was definitely no good. So that one I won't count in the running, but we had 2 that are dry, probably won't make it. And then I did want to show this one here. So this one wasn't looking great. I just pulled this out a little while ago. And actually there were some roots hanging on, but they were clearly rotted. And they're somewhere down here. But anyway, so when I talked about this cutting method, or just all cuttings really, the 2 things that can happen are rot and dryness. So we actually have 2 examples of that, right? These got too dry. Again, they may still come, but they look very iffy, I'd say, at this point. And this one, you can definitely see there's rot and breakdown at the bottom. Now, I could cut this above the rot, and I probably would take the current live growth off so it's not supporting it, and let it, and rewrap this with paraffin and put it in. And I've done that before, and probably 50 to 75% will make it on a reattempt. But I have enough. I don't really need all these. But the important thing here is, again, like the others, I said I didn't water them enough, and I went and turned this over. I realized that I actually had not cut any holes in this one. So the one that rotted, just too wet and no drainage. So that was my fault, and then too dry. So I think all the others look good. The ones I gave away look good. I'm still real happy with this method, but of course it does remind me that you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to your plants and make sure they're getting the basics like water or not too much water, and then you're good to go. The other thing I really like about this method is that I don't really need to do anything with these plants for at least another month. They can really establish into nicely grown plants, build up their root mass and so forth. If I started them in other media or just rooted them independently, then there's transition points, and that's a place you lose plants. So by having them in these, I don't have to put them through that transition and have them go into transplant shock or other problems. So that is a nice thing about it. And as I think I mentioned before, you also can just take these pots and go ahead and plant the entire pot in the ground, and the roots will push out through the holes, and over time this will break down. So it's almost like having a giant peat pot. So it's a really nice way to avoid any real disruption for them at all. Anyway, so that's my update. Whenever I do things and show them, when there is a result that would be expected, I do want to do that follow-up video. I want to show people how it worked or didn't work. So last year I think I had almost 100%, if not 100% doing it this way. This year a few failures. I can't say they would have worked if I had done, if I had watered these enough and not drowned this poor fellow. But that certainly is something we can learn from. Is okay, if I'm gonna have different kind of containers, I'm gonna have to monitor them differently for moisture. And certainly never forget to put the holes in the bottom. So that's just a 101 thing. Anyway, well, it's quite breezy. I think I'll bring these guys in. It's a little too much for them today. Gotta harden them off slowly, but it definitely, I'm pleased with the results with just sort of putting them in these and leaving them alone and not touching them, except for occasionally watering or overwatering. But there are more intensive methods, and if you have 1 or 2 figs, and you want to use some rooting hormone or scratch up the base a little bit to create more callus area for rooting, absolutely I would consider that if I just had one. But I'm happy with the results, and I hope if you're looking just to root a bunch of cuttings, you might consider this as well. Or if you've got another method that you found to be easy and foolproof, put them in the comments. Let me know about it. That's the update, and hope you're having a good season.